I get rides to places that I can't get to by myself, and they just kind of check in on me to make sure that I'm not in like serious trouble. And it is really nice. And also too, they hooked me up with support that I really needed financially and housing wise. And so they've just been really great. And everyone likes each other, and I think that's a really good sign. Like, you don't always see that when you go to like places, any business, but also especially like in social services. Like, everyone there loves their job, they love their clients, and they're just really great.
Recorded at Amplified Studio in downtown Des Moines, Give and Grow is more than a podcast. It's a commitment to our community. Founded by Andy and Sarah Suzanen alongside the RIA Group, this initiative is dedicated to uplifting the organizations and individuals who work every day to make Central Iowa a better place for all. Welcome to the Give and Grow podcast, where we share the stories of the nonprofits transforming lives in our community. Each organization is featured in 3 episodes, offering a deeper, more personal look at their impact. Through conversations with passionate staff, generous donors, and the very people whose lives have been changed by their work, our hope is simple: to connect, inspire, and strengthen the bonds that make our community thrive.
Welcome to the Give and Grow podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan Spain. This is our 3rd of 3 episodes featuring the Nonprofit Community Support Advocates, or CSA. Community Support Advocates is a 501c3 nonprofit creating hope together with those impacted by mental illness and disabilities. They are a designated public health safety net organization and a disabilities access point under the governor's overhaul of Iowa's behavioral health services. CSA provides comprehensive services and coordinated care that support day-to-day living, community integration, and creative expression. So today we're going to focus on how CSA delivers their mission by tapping into the power of art. CSA started doing this over 20 years ago by hosting an annual juried exhibition called Momentum: Works of Growth and Recovery, which features the work of artists with disabilities and mental health conditions. CEO Christina Smith saw how much the program impacted members of its community, so she wanted to expand the programming. This led to CSA's Momentum Art Program, which offers free access to workshops, art supplies, studio space, and career development opportunities. Momentum Art Program operates out of Mainframe Studios in units number 103 and 109. CSA's new headquarters on Valley West Drive features works of art and art installations created through its Momentum program as well. Eden Sampaguita is here with us today. She's a Momentum artist and a Momentum Leadership Committee member. So welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you come to find CSA?
So I didn't know anything at all about social services or how to seek them out or how to seek out assistance with anything at all until very late in the pandemic. I was living in Seattle, Washington, and doing very poorly. So, a lot of things happened out there, and kind of towards like spring, I came to the realization as I was trying to get healthcare that in Seattle, I don't know if this is still true or not, but they had some kind of requirement that if you needed mental health services, you're required, if the city's required to help you, especially when you're below a certain income. I think it's if you're like low income or poverty levels, because they know they have such a problem. And so I found a way to get access to these services, and they hooked me up. They did testing for me, like psychological tests. They found a therapist. They found a nurse. It was awesome. And so that's where my mental health journey really started in terms of like recovery. I mean, it started a long time ago, but they helped me out a lot. And I ended up moving out here because I'd never been here. And I needed an affordable, safe place to be. Okay. And so I came out here, and I had leased an apartment in advance for like a year or so. And so I was just coasting, and I got to know one of the neighbors in my apartment, and she had said, oh, there's this really cool thing at Mainframe Studios called Momentum. And she said, it's this art studio, and they let you come in for free and use all their supplies. And she said, if you're disabled, you can have access to it. And I don't think they they don't check papers. If you self-identify as having a disability, you're welcome there.
Right.
And so it's a really good service because, there's a lot of people who don't get diagnosed, but they're struggling and they need help.
Very true.
And that was kind of I had diagnosis, but that was also kind of where I was at because I still wasn't totally familiar with how to get help. I'd done the bare minimum, which is get a medical team that would help me with counseling and, if I needed medications, which I did. And as far as housing and food resources and maybe applying for disability, I didn't know how to do any of that. So this same neighbor had said, I have a nurse that comes to see me once a week. And she's from this really cool place called CSA. It's Community Support Advocates. She gave me the business card and introduced me to her nurse. And from there, I ended up enrolling. And I don't have someone who visits me, once a week like a nurse, but every once in a while, social workers will come around. I get rides to places that I can't get to by myself. And they just kind of check in on me to make sure that I'm not in serious trouble. And it is really nice. And also, too, they hooked me up with support that I really, really needed financially and housing-wise. And so they've just been really great. And everyone likes each other, and I think that's a really good sign. You don't always see that when you go to, places of any business, but also especially, in social services. Everyone there loves their job. They love their clients, and they're just really great.
Yeah, they have a really interesting culture within their organization, which is always been impressive to me because it's a hard industry.
It is, and they handle it so well.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. And then timeline-wise, did you find Momentum first or the services?
I think I had applied for Community Support Advocates, and then they went through their little insurance and application process.
Okay.
So it is a process, and then while I was kind of waiting around for them to do their thing, I think I had a caseworker come to visit me and interview me, and then she helped me fill out some papers, and then I didn't hear from them for a couple months because they had to process everything and make sure that I was eligible and all that. But in the meantime, I started going to Momentum and just got absorbed by this community. There's been a couple times where that's happened to me here because I dance, and the dance community just took me in right away. And then I found Momentum, and they did the same thing. So I have this family of artists and performance artists around me, and it's awesome. So that was actually, let's see, I want to say that was a late summer of 2023, maybe.
Okay.
Might have been 2022, 23. I'm not totally sure when, but I had met our previous program director, Kelsey.
Yeah.
She was so cool. She encouraged me to apply for the Works of Growth and Recovery exhibition.
Yeah.
And that was my start back into art. I have a degree in oil painting, but because of the hardship I'd experienced when I was living on the West Coast, I had made art in years and years and years. I just kind of stopped around 2018. And then I got back into it since I've been here, and I've been getting exhibits. I've been selling work. I've won a few things.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Best part is I've made friends.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So Kelsey Burr, I know her. She's now over at the Art Center.
Yes.
Helping them with their Art Access programming there. So tell me a little bit about how art has helped you process your situation and connect to community.
Yeah. Art has always been here for me as an avenue. When I was really, really little, my mom used to read to me a lot, so I learned to read really super early. I must have been a couple years old. I wrote a little short story in child gibberish, but I also illustrated it, and then I made a point to to have her like decipher everything. And from then on, I was just like writing all over the place, and I would try to draw to, and I remember getting so frustrated because I couldn't do all the things yet. I was still a kid. But that kind of followed me throughout life. I quit writing for a long time because I think when you use words, it's a little more vulnerable. If someone finds your journal and they open it, like, then all your innermost thoughts come out.
It's a little more personal than doing the artwork.
Yeah,
and
art is
creating work on a canvas that's a little more subjective.
Right. Like
or objective.
If you create a visual work, it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
And it can mean a lot of things, and different symbols mean different things in different cultures and different colors and all that. So I got into drawing first. That was my first love. And then I continued all the way through college, but they shut down their drawing program. And as all this was happening, I was dealing with like these really heavy personal issues. So it was just, it was such a productive escape. Like, you hear about escapism, but it wasn't really like that for me. It was more like I had freedom, and I was also earning a degree and making good quality work and learning how to use paints and like how to discuss, meaning and how to apply for grants and apply for different exhibitions and all that, getting to know art as a career. Yeah. And all the different avenues you can take. And it just sort of carried over into once I graduated, I was working and I was still creating, and it just, at that point I had all the freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. So it was like my drawings became like my journal for me. And it's only gotten better since.
Great. Well, tell us what it's like to go to the studio. What happens there, and what does that feel like to be able to go into the Momentum Art Studio?
It is my favorite part of the week. One of my favorite parts. Dancing is the other favorite part. But so I will get there and I'll say hi to everybody because I like to talk to everyone. And it just becomes kind of a social hour. I don't always make things. Sometimes I'll just talk with my friends. But usually I'll go in and I might have a project that I'm already doing. But if I don't have a goal, I'll find something. We have so many materials. There's like, someone donated this, like an epic amount of scrapbooking materials. So we have like an entire wall of different colored papers, and I like to make some paper art, even though I'm not very good at that yet.
Does it turn into collaging or?
Yeah, or sometimes I'll make these really minimalist figures with it. And that's something I'm still learning. But other times I'll just sit and paint, or I'll draw something. I just learned to sew. I only know one stitch right now, but I've managed to make a body pillow. And now I'm just trying to make it cute. But eventually I'd like to learn to use the sewing machines. They have sewing machines at Momentum. They have everything. They've got oil paints, they've got watercolor, they have all sorts of like pens and pencils and different kinds of papers. They have this nice computer that you can use, and I think it has like the Adobe suite on it, which, if you're a young person or if you're disabled and don't have very much in the ways of material, it's a dream to be able to come in and use a professional quality program to create something.
So they also have an exhibition space too, right? Yes. And you're able to sell your work there?
Yeah, it's right next door to us. So like there's a door inside the studio and you just walk through it, and then it's our exhibition space. So we try to get it really nice and cute for First Friday. And like we'll have, usually what happens is we have rotating artists. So someone from our collective is usually featured for the month. Right now, it's everybody who got into works of growth and recovery. They chose like one or two pieces from everyone to put in the gallery. And then they'll go back to their usual rotation. Okay. But yeah, you just talk to Emma, who is our program director, and show her a body of work. The whole thing with the exhibition space is like, the goal is to get artists used to creating a body of work, presenting it, and then displaying it and learning to do the the bare bones basics of getting your art out into the world. But as far as like selling work, like all the proceeds go to us, the artists. That is almost unheard of.
Yes, it is. Very true.
Yes, it is almost unheard of. And so that's a really huge bonus. And then also, like we're participating in Small Business Saturday after Black Friday. So we're going to have all of our artists who are making little gifts to give on...
so you can go Christmas shopping.
Christmas shopping. Yeah, you can do Christmas shopping with us. And we have original art, and a lot of us like to make little trinkets too. And just fun stuff. I'm making jewelry.
Options.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
yeah. Making jewelry this year, and probably some little collage pieces. And,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's great to know. So it's Small Business Saturday is always after Black Friday. So and that usually focuses on, entrepreneurs and artists a lot of times.
Yes,
and gives them the opportunity to promote options for shopping through art. Oh, good. That's great. I hope people mark their calendars for that.
I sure hope so, too. I wish I could give an exact date. I forgot what it was. I just know
it's
right
the
after
29th.
Black Friday.
So it's
that sounds about right.
2 days after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the date.
Oh, good. Well, so I was talking to Christina, and she said that you traveled with her to DC for the Harkin Institute's annual conference. And you spoke about the importance of art in mental health recovery and in creating pathways to sustainable employment for youth and young adults. Tell us a little bit about that experience and what that felt like to be in front of an audience in DC and what takeaways you took from that.
Oh, it was amazing. So we went, and when we arrived, we're going through this hotel, and it's like nice. I'd never been to DC before. And as soon as we got to the elevator, the first thing that people mentioned, because like there were other people who were attendees that were just, there already. And the first thing that I heard somebody mention about the elevators is this is not made for disabled people. Their system, it wasn't like you press the button to floor 5 and it goes to floor 5. It was like there was 2 like giant keypads, and if you were blind, it was not going to work.
Wow.
Basically. And those of us who are able to see just fine also struggled because it was this big, huge thing. And there was no braille on it because there couldn't be it wasn't.
It was a screen.
It was a screen. So it was just very different. And then we saw interpreters and other helpers helping their clients get through the elevator just to do that process. And it really, like, immediately we were thinking about
think that one thing that we take for granted that is easy.
Yes.
And simple and quick.
Yes.
Just turned into its own situation.
It's a whole ordeal. Yes. Because imagine if you weren't there for the Harkin Institute and you were blind and you needed to use the elevator and you don't have a social worker or someone to help
with
you.
Through.
Yeah, you would have to have someone at the front desk. If you even think of that, some people would just panic. So that was one thing. And then the experience itself, like being able to talk to an audience that actually wanted to come to see us and learn about our program, that was really special. And my end of it was, as someone who utilizes momentum as an artist, I got to talk a little about how beneficial it was to me to be part of the arts, not just as an adult, but also as a kid. I think what really got me pursuing art was I had this super cool art teacher in 8th grade, Mr. Chavez. He used to do like little art history lessons with us, just the way a college would, on every Friday. And then I wasn't like the best artist. I was up there with, more skilled students. But I remember once I was kind of late leaving class because I was working really hard on this thing. And he's like, do you ever think about like continuing art through college? And I said, no, I don't know. I don't know. That sounds good, I guess. I was only a kid. But he said to me, well, I think through the summer you should contact the community college just up the road from us, and you should ask if they have any all ages drawing from life classes, because you seem to like art a lot and you work really hard on it. And just having that one conversation where I was being acknowledged in a positive way by an adult over something that I liked.
Yes.
I guess that it really stuck with me.
That is so cool when those things happen. And then people don't realize sometimes the impact they have.
It's life-changing because that little,
Nudge.
conversation, that little snippet just stayed ingrained in my mind. And if we weren't struggling, and my family was having a rough time, if we weren't struggling so much, and so we had a neighboring high school, and it was specifically for artists.
Oh, wow.
Artists who, they're young people, but they express advanced talent. It was over in Tacoma. I forget what it's called. I don't know if it still exists, but I wanted to go so bad. You had to go through an application process. But then, I looked into it and I thought, wait a minute, this is a different county. I don't think my parents would be able to get me there. And it would just be a big whole thing, a whole big thing. So I decided, okay, well, I won't do that, but I'll take every art class I can. And so that's how my career started in the arts. And of course, mental health wise, I had a nervous breakdown, or several of them. It was either a really long one or several. And that was, throughout the pandemic and a little before that. I was already struggling before that happened, but that just sort of blew it wide open when we had the whole, the shutdowns and everything.
Really hard circumstances.
Yeah, the rioting.
So many people.
It was crazy. Yeah. And so being able to get out of that survival mind frame, and then also anyone who's ever had a mental break would your mind just gets really noisy, but you can't really focus on any one thing. You can't accomplish things. And so it's really hard to live. People don't understand you. But being able to do art, hands-on, maybe you're doing something with clay and you're working it with your hands, or maybe you're just painting with watercolors. It's it gives your brain something to do, and you have to work a little hard at it because you're also using your hands. And then there's all these different colors and elements that you got to put together, and it just gives your mind a break.
And being able to really thrive is making sure that art practice and creativity is in our daily lives.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was the takeaway? Did you hear feedback from the people at Harkin Institute that maybe listened to you and Christina talk about CSA and momentum?
I had so many people come up to me talking to me about how when they were in school, they also were kind of average students, or they had their subjects they did good in. Me, if it had numbers or it was boring to me, that was a great way for me to get C's, D's, and F's. If it was an art class or an English class or something interesting, that was a great way for me to get straight A's. And so it kind of balanced out. But I had a lot of people come up to me and tell me about their experience as young kids being creative and getting shut down at every corner because no one took the art seriously.
Yeah, a lot of times it is not valued as economically feasible. That's a huge one that people worry about.
Yeah.
And it kind of hurts my heart that it has such a bad reputation for not contributing as much as other studies and aspects of our lives, when it works in very subtle ways and very powerful ways.
Yes.
And just because sometimes we can't measure it doesn't mean it's not valuable.
Well, I think sometimes too, it's the way we measure things.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of like when you measure IQ, what is that? IQ actually is based on, I want to say it's young white men, and that is our measure for IQ in terms of intellect. But we also have like emotional intelligence, right?
Right.
Whereas the measurements on that and who's being graded on this, like how are we determining that?
Yeah.
IQ is actually, because it's, such a narrow.
It's one sector. It measures one, aspect of
Yeah, it's like a narrow focus group. Like, yes, and it was made a long time ago, and I don't think it's been updated, so it's probably not very accurate or useful, but yet some people
that's an interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think art is kind of the same. We're just now, there's a book I wanted to read. We were trying to get her to speak at a Momentum event. I can't think of the author of the name of the book. I should have looked before I got here. But anyway, it's the study of art's impact on our psychology and our everyday lives. So they actually did scientific studies on the effects of the visuals that we surround ourselves with or that others surround ourselves with and how that manipulates how we think. So if we're just surrounded by propaganda, for example, all the time, that's going to have an effect on us. If we're surrounded by things that are ugly and visually unappealing and gross, that's going to have an effect on us. So if you think about like the bad side of town where there's like just nothing but garbage and needles and maybe some graffiti here and there, but like the buildings are all torn down and, stuff like that, everything's run down, that affects you. But if it's pretty and there's like public art, there's some sculptures, there's murals, maybe there's things to do like sort of abstract sculptures that kids can play on that are safe. And then like there's murals, that has a huge impact too on our stress levels.
Yeah, aesthetics.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep, make a big difference. So is the book Your Brain on Art?
Yes, that is it.
Yeah, she's pretty wonderful. I think the duo that wrote that, come from the science background and also the data background. So one, I think, was heavily involved with Google, and then the other one is a scientist on the East Coast. I'm not sure.
Do you have the authors' names by chance?
Yes. Let me see who it is. Susan. For some reason, Google's not cooperating with me right now.
It probably wants you to use their AI search engine. That's why. I'm scared to use it. I try to ignore it as much as possible because I hear all these stories about how it's wrong.
Yeah. So it's Susan Maximin and Ivy Ross. So that is a big one. It got a lot of attention for bringing that connection to art and science together, which was really cool. Yeah. I'm glad there's more studies out there that really support mental health and art.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that we can expand and
that's my hope too, that we get more understanding of how art and design and creativity play a really important roles in our daily lives and quality of life. So I also heard that you won Best New Designer at the Bubble Ball. Is that right?
Yes.
So did Momentum have a team that made, is that how that worked?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can't claim credit for that. Like we all worked together. It was very much
okay. So part of the team that got the new designer acknowledged.
Oh yeah. We won some money, which is wonderful because we're a nonprofit and we're always struggling with that. And then I think the most important part for us was we worked together to put together this thing that we'd never really done before. And we got to present it among people who have been doing this for years. And it's it's a really, really fancy, well-organized event.
It is. It's almost like an institution in Des Moines. This Bubble Ball is really phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal. I can't say that word.
Phenomenal.
I'm having a hard time with English today.
Words are hard.
Yes, words are hard today. But it's the images from them are just out of this world. I just love it.
It's a stage performance. It's kind of like going to a Broadway show almost.
So it probably brought a lot of things together for you,
Oh, yeah. And then to see like our costume, I think the highlight of the night, this is like the cherry on top of the really amazing cake. So like last year's theme was the animal kingdom.
And that sounds right.
Yes. Yeah. So we chose an anglerfish because that's just kind of a weird creature and no one ever talks about it. And We just thought, well, who else is going to choose that,
Right.
and so that's what we chose. That's what we got. So our model, we had her in this, so it's an umbrella, but it's like a hat. And so we covered it in bubble wrap, right? And so that was our headpiece. And then we had affixed I think it was a pool noodle, but in black for the mouth. Okay. And so it was like the entire headpiece was just like this really cool giant mask. And that was our anglerfish. And we got it to light up because Emma's amazing and she knows how to solder and weld things and attach LED lights. And so, yeah.
That sounds useful.
Yes. And from the audience where we were sitting, she was working the lights on this costume. And it was just so cool with all the lighting. But the best part was at the end of the show, our model had a line of people. I did not see any other costumes that had this reaction. People loved it so much that they wanted to take pictures with her. And then because the headpiece was so huge and it's like an umbrella, people would like get under it to get closer to her and get their picture taken. We had a line. It was just awesome.
Great experience.
Oh yeah, it was very special. It was really, really cool. We took lots of pictures and just a really, really fun event. And
so you worked with a few different people at the Momentum Art Studio and Emma, who is the coordinator.
Yeah, so as our coordinator, our model, who is another artist at the studio.
Okay.
Me, another artist, and our volunteer coordinator and fellow artist, Kelly.
Okay.
And so, we did so good that night. It was so much fun.
I bet that's really inspiring and inspired you to continue with your art.
Yes.
And then you'll be speaking at the NAMI conference, is that right?
Yeah. I have no idea what I'm talking about yet. But I hear it's supposed to be similar to either this conversation or like at the Harkin Institute. I know it's going to be about the impact of art on mental health and how much everybody needs this essential activity in their lives.
Yeah, well, thank you for, being a voice, because I do think that it makes a difference to hear from people experiencing the mental challenges, mental illness, disabilities that work with these social services organization and bringing to light the real uniqueness of the Momentum Art Program.
Yes, it is unique. And also, too, for anybody who's listening who thinks, well, I would love that, but I'm not an artist. You don't have to be an artist.
Good point.
You don't have to know what you're doing.
Good point.
When you come in, you can just hang out and talk to people, or you can just have a place to be. Or you can actually use our supplies and just, put something on paper, put weird colors together, like make a collage.
So how do people find out? I know there's a website, momentumartistcollective.org.
Yes.
Do you usually make appointments to go in?
Yeah, so there is an appointment process. You do go on the webpage.
Okay.
And then you'll scroll down and there's like this little blue button that says make an appointment. And then Wednesday through Friday are our days that we have an open studio, and it's from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. I usually get in there kind of later, but you just pick a time slot. Each time slot is an hour and a half, and you get your ticket, and then you can also register a friend if you want to.
Nice.
Or if you have a social worker, you can register them separately, or, conversely, they can register you themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, just come on in and talk to us and make some cool things. And
yeah, it sounds really inviting.
Yeah.
So that website again is momentumartistcollective.org. You can also find the link at teamcsa.org. So community support advocates, again, is the one that makes this greatness happen. And the history of it has just proven its value to our community. So I hope people donate supplies and also contribute financial support as well. So these services and access to the studio space and the supplies can continue to be free for anyone who feels the need.
Yeah. We're always accepting donations.
What do you think you need the most?
What do we need the most?
At one point it was canvases.
Geez. I think we got the canvas thing under control.
Okay.
But I think Mod Podge or like something clear, adhesive that will like put paper on paper, like for collage work, because that's like the easiest thing to do. Or if there's any kind of like fixative or like high quality acrylics or oil paints or colored pencils. I think this is something that a lot of the program directors have lamented for a long time is we get a lot of crayons. Now, crayons are great, but they don't really help people who are professional artists or who operate at that level of skill. And so
it's a good point to make.
When people hear this is a collective for disabled artists, there's like a certain stereotype that comes to mind. But there are people who function at all different levels of intellect, of physical capability, sickness or health. Like, not everyone is finger painting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of us are actually really
I'm glad
really
you
cool.
mentioned that, because I do think that that stigma might be still out there. The stereotype, that this is all it is.
Yes.
When really it's a lot more. You're providing a lot of possibilities to a huge range of folks with different abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to know. All right.
But basically anything you can create with still, like, we'll take it.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, okay. So people can visit Momentum Art Program every first Friday. That's a great time to visit. And if you want to make an appointment, you can go on their website, momentumartistcollective.org. And you can find community support advocates at teamcsa.org. So thank you, Eden, for being here. Such a pleasure to have a conversation with you. And to our listeners, thanks for being here. You can always tune in to Give and Grow DSM podcast on your favorite streaming platforms and at giveandgrowdsm.com.